An integrated system. Dynamic framework for smart city. Digital transformation and citizen engagement with regards to challenges in climate changes. The principal objective of this paper is to find out how smart technologies can help with urban planning and how citizen engagement can improve the effectuality of this application. Content analysis from databases like Greenfile and Scopus, a total of 6 articles, that are related to smart cities and urban planning were selected for the study. Additionally, MATLAB was used to design a simple concept indicating the relationship between various social amenities or individual gadgets and sensors that help to regulate the amount of energy used. Quantitative survey was also carried out using Google Forms circulated to a sample population of N+50 pounds after a Facebook campaign of this study that took 2 weeks. The results indicated that smart technologies significantly help to reduce the levels of carbon footprint for individuals, as well as for corporations. A sample calculation to prove the functionality of the MATLAB equation gave an output of cut down supply and issue warning, using a consumption rate of 2% and programmed rates, PR, of 10. Originality, value. The use of smart technologies in the planning or urban centers can contribute a great deal in global environmental conservation efforts. The study concludes that smart technologies are an important factor in urban planning and in the fight against global warming and climate change, and that citizens, or human beings, are also an important part of this success. The World Health Organization, in a study carried out to determine the rate of the urban population growth, indicates that the development of smart cities is at the forefront of climate change initiative to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, WHO 2016 P14. With the world becoming more and more urbanized, there is a need to tackle the issue of climate change currently being experienced due to this rapid growth in urban areas. 75% of the global carbon dioxide emissions emanate from cities, with industries and transport being the major contributors. To this effect, governments all over the world have since embraced the concept of smart cities, which has proven to be very efficient. This concept entails the use of an array of sensors, wireless networks, and other internet-based programs to collect information in cities and use that information in the management and distribution of resources, as well as in the provision of services efficiently. Also reveals, in accordance with this study's discussion, is that the increase in temperatures globally has led to a subsequent rise in the cases of extreme weather occurrences such as droughts or floods. These events have very adverse effects on the sustainability and growth of cities, hence hindering urbanization. With this in mind, there is need to develop a dynamic framework that can be integrated into cities and urban areas that not only caters for such extreme events, but also reduces the effects of urbanization on climate while providing services and enabling management of resources efficiently. Previously, smart cities have just utilized digital frameworks that use collected data within cities to manage and distribute resources and provide services more conveniently and efficiently to the citizens. The issue of combating climate change is neglected, which has led to the global climatic changes that have been experienced. Through this research, we have come up with an integrated dynamic framework that encompasses the transformation of the existing digital structure and the involvement of the public through citizen engagement. The recommendations in this paper, as well as the simulation model designed, aim to reduce the effects caused by climate changes and reduce the impact of urbanization on climate while providing the same services and advantages offered by a smart city. By minimizing these effects, the cases of extreme weather occurrences will reduce significantly, as will the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Subsequently, the current rise in global temperatures and its adverse effects on the environment will also reduce. The losses incurred and damages caused by the extreme weather conditions due to climate changes will, therefore, be eliminated, paving the way for even further urbanization and development. To evaluate the contribution of digitalization and citizen engagement in risk prevention due to climate changes in smart cities. Research questions. What are some of the challenges facing the development of cities with regards to climate changes? In what ways can digitalization and citizen engagement assist in reducing the adverse effects of climate change, which pose a risk to cities, and the development of smart cities? Climate change is a significant problem affecting various cities and countries all over the globe. Even in this digital era and the emergence of smart cities, cases of extreme weather events are on the rise, and such occurrences are responsible for countless losses in terms of destruction of property and more. This has led to the use of emerging scientific methods and technology to combat the challenges arising from climate change to curb these losses. Many researchers have focused on the use of digital frameworks to detect changes in climate early and therefore forecast the occurrence of extreme weather events. For instance, focuses on the development of a global smart city platform solution that focuses on the challenges posed by climate change and how to eliminate the same proceeds to give 4 clear-cut areas through which the implementation of climate-smart cities could be carried out. Several studies targeted at combating the challenges caused by climate change emphasize on the need to use digital technology and communication systems to address matters of climate, while at the same time maintaining the economic sustainability of the city. The need to modify the existing digital frameworks to increase its efficiency and meet the changing climatic condition all over the world has intensified. The application of this digital transformation in managing the effects of climate change has sparked various researchers to look for ways to implement the same. For instance, the implementation of smart building technology within smart cities will provide a lot of information that can be used to combat climate change. According to research carried out by the United Nations, 39% of the global carbon dioxide emissions responsible for global warming come from buildings, i.e., the built environment. Several researchers have also pointed out the use of renewable energy sources and energy-saving technological appliances in a bid to reduce effects on climate and at the same time maintain sustainability. Citizen engagement. Involving citizens in making decisions that concern public policies within cities is vital in addressing the causes of public concern on various matters and promoting the general quality of life within the community. Citizen engagement is also an essential tool when it comes to reducing the effects of climate change, according to researchers. There has been an increase in media coverage of climate-related disasters and an increase in protests, and the public is speaking out against practices that have adverse effects on climate. More researchers have listed civic engagement as one of the nature-based approaches to combat climate change in urban areas, which brings about easier and manageable ways to achieve the same. Citizen engagement can occur in many forms, and it is essential to ensure that the methods used in engagement should yield positive effects and have a positive impact on the subject. The integration of digitalization in civic engagement is also vital in reaching even more citizens and allowing them to be involved in the decision-making process. The importance of digital transformation and citizen engagement as tools in the fight against climate change is undeniable. Research has been done on the same, and the facts and figures above indeed show their importance. Designing a framework that utilizes them together can prove to be a revolutionary step. Climate changes. Climate change is currently a pivotal issue whose implications are continuously being felt globally. From simple shifts in weather patterns to extreme cases such as floods and drought, which lead to death and destruction of property, climate change could cause a lot of harm if not addressed in a proper manner. This has prompted researchers all over the world to come up with articles and proposals on how to deal with climate change. The causes of the recent rise in climate change have been highlighted as industrialization, according to most researchers. The concentration of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is directly linked to the global temperatures currently being experienced, and a rise in their concentration causes a subsequent rise in the global temperature. According to The impact of climate change all over the world prompted governments, states, and researchers to come up with and adopt measures of tackling the same. Researchers have backed the launching of the Kyoto Protocol, which was adopted by developing and developed countries. The protocol requires the countries to find ways that reduce carbon emissions into the atmosphere and even set targets for the specific countries. The United Nations came up with the Paris Agreement, which is also geared towards the sustainability and implementation of low-carbon emissions. Its aim is to keep the global temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius and, in this way, reduce global warming, hence reducing the rapid changes in climate caused by the same. The impact of climate change on humans and the environment is huge, and there needs to be even more effort to solve the crisis. The use of technology to guide urbanization so as to reduce climate change while also sustaining development is also fundamental in combating the same. Coming up with a method that incorporates all this into one is crucial in finally being able to reduce global warming, carbon dioxide emissions, and the extreme weather conditions caused by climate change. The principal research technique used to come up with this project was content analysis and the use of conceptual models that relied on the use of the software MATLAB. Since climate change is an interdisciplinary matter, we gathered information from various disciplines, including history, geography, computer science, civil and structural engineering, and environmental science. This was from various databases like Scopus and Greenline. This study revealed the causes of climate change and extreme weather events, their effects, and the available interventions that have been set in place to counter these effects. Based on the understanding of the causes and effects, we were able to build better around the idea of smart cities in a bid to help reduce the effects of climate change on the environment. The methods of reducing either the effects or the causes of climate change were written down in a manner that related the cause to its subsequent solution. A short quantitative study also was done to establish the perception of the study population regarding citizen participation and engagement by their governments when it came to matters of environmental conservation. MATLAB was used to design a computational model so as to achieve an effective representation of a dynamic framework for smart cities that reduces the effects of climate change through digitalization and citizen engagement. A sample of 50 respondents from Cairo was randomly selected to participate in a quantitative survey focused on citizen engagement in smart city initiatives. Using a brief online questionnaire distributed through Facebook, the study explored attitudes toward environmental participation and perceptions of smart cities. Analysis revealed a strong correlation between digital transformation and effective citizen engagement for climate action. As urbanization accelerates, developing robust computational frameworks becomes vital to mitigate climate change in cities, where most of the world's population will soon live. A sample population of 50 respondents from the Cairo was selected after posting an online campaign that lasted for 2 weeks about this survey. From 1,500 applications, and using random selection, we were able to select the 50 respondents who all participated in the final study. This quantitative survey was necessary in determining the impact of citizen engagement in smart city initiatives. The respondents participated online through questionnaires distributed to them with only 5 questions to answer. 3 were closed-ended and 2 were open-ended, to find out their opinions concerning citizen participation in environmental matters in Cairo and what their perception was about smart cities. The questionnaire was designed online using Google Forms, and the campaign was run on Facebook alone as a social media application, since a larger percentage of respondents in the study area relied on this platform for communication purposes. Data analysis took the form of Excel to produce graphs that illustrated relationships between the various variables examined in the questionnaire. When it came to content analysis, responses recorded were analyzed thematically, and finally, MATLAB was used to analyze various scenarios using varying quantities of consumption rate, C, and programmed rates, PR, realizations, and resolutions. In the course of the study, we arrived at 3 fundamental realizations that had not been made in previous work done. First, there is an important correlation between digital transformation and proper citizen engagement in the development of a functional smart city with regards to climate change. Secondly, combating climate change has 2 significant aspects: reducing its causes and reducing its adverse effects. Finally, the development of a computational model should accurately cover the dynamics of a smart city framework as a composite system. We decided to use a smart city as a basis for the development of our framework for 2 reasons. First, cities account for approximately 70% of the global carbon dioxide emissions, which is responsible for global warming. Secondly, with the current rate of urbanization, 70% of the world's population will be living in cities in the next 30 years. Therefore, it is important to develop a system that reduces the effects of climate change and therefore maintain a conducive environment to live in without hampering urbanization. MATLAB equation C equals 2, % consumption depends on energy in use. PR equals 10, % programmed rates, K. S equals PR/C if S. 1. Cut down supply and issue warning. Else, system should function normally. End S. MATLAB code T final equals 2, N or 33, H T final, N, T linspace 0, 1, T final, N plus 1, % type, help linspace. To see how this works, YA zeros, 1, N plus 1. Y exact 9. 3, 1 plus 10, XP 3. Y 1, IL 1. % setting the initial number of people for N 1. Y N plus 1. E Y N plus H. YN 3 TN YN. End plot TY T Y exact. X label T, Y label Y. Title: Look Ma, I solved a number of citizens in MATLAB. Error 1, ABSI EMPLA 1, Y exact EMP 1. N equal 66. H final N, T linspace 0 final 1. % type, help linspace. To see how this works, he zeros 1 M1, Y exact 9, 3, 1 plus 10, XP3, Y1, IL 1, % setting the initial condition for N1, YN pol 1, IL YN plus H, YN, 3, TN, YN, end plot TY, T exact. X label T, Y label Y. Title: Look Ma, I solved an ODE in MATLAB. Error 2, ABS, Y M1, Y exact, M1. Print: the error went down by a factor of %F as error 1, error 2. The non-autonomous equation. The non-autonomous equation that was used to determine some of these values over a given time are as follows and as presented in a graph. The chat is presented below. dx dt t2 xx of 3. A smart city thrives on the seamless interaction of urban entities, guided by intelligent systems designed to promote environmental conservation. Using real-time data from sensors installed in key utilities like hospitals, corporate offices, and hotels, the system monitors energy consumption and instantly intervenes if preset limits are exceeded. When overuse is detected, energy supply is curtailed and users receive gentle reminders to adjust their habits. Streamlining shared resources, such as centralizing office printing, further reduces waste. Public support for these innovations remains strong, reflecting a collective commitment to a sustainable urban future. Following research from various databases with environmental conservation publications, we were able to find 50 articles that were related to the topic of study. The key words used included smart technologies and urbanization. The databases used for the study included Greenline and Scopus, although some literature was also sources from peer-reviewed journals. To narrow down the number, we chose literatures that were peer-reviewed and published only within a period of 5 years before the current year. This reduced the number to 6 journals that were finally used for the study in coming up with literature review, as well as in analysis of the objective of study. The deduction from this study is that climate change and global warming have fast-advancing effects that need to be countered early enough before they can hurt the world's economic, social, and political setup any further. Smart cities, even if not the only intervention to help with environmental conservation, is a paramount approach to ecology that governments need to consider so as to participate effectively in the global initiatives meant to decrease the effects of global warming and climate change. The governments are at the top of influence when it comes to enforcing laws that make urban planning a mandatory aspect for every city, whether already existing or upcoming. However, as the topic of citizen engagement is discussed in the paper, citizen participation in matters that involve global warming is also very important, as the citizens at the individual level are the ones that make the components of smart cities work. They are the ones that operate smart city technologies, and if they have a negative attitude towards ecological conservation, smart city initiatives might not work. It is important, therefore, that governments, through environmental campaigns, educate their citizens on the importance and urgency of environmental conservation so that urban planning initiatives can be a success. Please like, follow, and subscribe more updates.